Hello friends, welcome back to a new video, that is MCQs on Mendelian genetics, and this is the part 5 of this series of videos on Mendelian genetics. So the first question of this video, that is a normal couple has 7 children, that is 2 daughter and 5 sons. So 3 of the sons suffer from a hereditary disorder, but none of the daughter is affected. So which is the inherited type? And the options are: option A, sex limited recessive; option B, autosomal dominant; option C, sex linked dominant; or option D, sex linked recessive. So which type is this inheritance? So the right answer is option D, that is sex linked recessive. So the 3 of these sons out of 5 suffer from a hereditary disorder, but none of the daughter is affected. So it is a sex-linked recessive dominance or inheritance. Okay. So let's move on to question number 82. That is, a woman with normal color vision whose father was colorblind marries a colorblind man. So what is the probability that their son will be colorblind? So options are: option A is 0, option B 1 by 4, option C 1 by 2, and option D 3 by 4. So the right answer is option B, that is 1 by 4. So a woman with normal color vision whose father was colorblind marries a colorblind man. So what is the probability? That is 1 by 4 is the probability that their son will be colorblind. Okay. So let's move on to question number 83. It is, if the number of alleles in a population is n, then statement P is n different homozygous genotype are possible. Statement Q is n into n into n minus 1 by 2 different heterozygous genotype are possible, and the statement R is n into n plus 1 by 2 different genotype are possible, or statement S is n into n plus 1 different genotype are possible. So where the number of allele in a population is n. Okay. So options are: option A, Q, R, and S. All statements in these three statements are correct, or option B, this P, Q, R is correct, or option C, Q and R is correct, or option D, P, Q, R, S. All statements are correct. So the right one is option B, that is P, Q, R. These three options are correct about the about this uh, homozygous genotypes. Okay. So let's move on to the next question, that is question number 84. So which of the following genotypes would produce the greatest variety of gametes if the alleles assorted independently? The options are: option A, small capital B, small c, capital D, small d; option B, capital A, small a, capital B, small b, capital C, capital D, small d; option C, small a, small b, capital C, capital D, capital D; option D, capital A, capital B, capital C, capital D, capital small d. So which one is the right one? That is option B. That is, this is the right answer. So which of the following genotype would produce the greatest variety of gametes if the alleles assorted independently? So this is the right one. Okay, so let's move on to next question, that is question number 85. So male child with blood group AB is colorblind. So his parents could be: option A, father normal vision with blood group A and mother colorblind with blood group O. Option B, father colorblind with group O and mother colorblind with blood group AB, or father normal vision with blood group A and mother colorblind with blood group B, or option D, father colorblind with blood group O and mother normal vision with blood group O. So the right answer is option C, that is father normal vision with blood group A and mother colorblind with blood group B. Okay, so this is the right answer about the male child with blood group AB is colorblind. So his parents could be father normal vision with blood group A and mother colorblind with blood group B. Okay, so let's move on to question number 86. It is the most common cause of the pleiotropic effect of a gene is due to option A, the same product of the given gene being involved in different metabolic pathways. Option B, the gene making very different products in different cell types. Option C, the DNA sequence of the gene getting changed in cell specific manner. And option D, the gene not functioning in some cells. Okay, so the right answer is option A, that is the same product of the given gene being involved in different metabolic pathways. The most common cause of the pleiotropic effect of a gene is due to the same product of the given gene being involved in different metabolic pathways. Okay, so next question is 87, that is colorblind man has children with a woman who has normal vision but whose father was colorblind. Which of the following is true? And the options are option A, the probability that their daughters will be carriers in 1 by 4 for each daughter, or option B, all of their daughters will have at least one recessive allele, or option C, that is none of their sons will be colorblind, or option D, the probability that their sons will be colorblind is 1 by 4 for each son. So the right answer is option B, that is all of their daughters will have at least one recessive allele. So colorblind man has children with a woman who has normal vision but whose father was colorblind. So which of the following is true? So all of their daughters will have at least one recessive allele. Okay. So the next one is question number 88. It is which of the following is not correct about genomic imprinting? And the options are option A, it is an epigenetic effect. Option B, it occurs as a result of acetylation of histone protein. Option C, that is DNA methylation is responsible for imprinting. Or option D, paternal and maternal alleles have different pattern of methylation. So the right answer is option B, that is it occurs as a result of acetylation of histone proteins. Okay, so this is not correct about genomic imprinting. All the other options are correct about genomic imprinting. Okay, so next question is albinism is a condition that results from the lack of normal pigmentation. So individuals possessing two recessive alleles, that is small a, are albino. So similarly, attached earlobes result from two recessive alleles, that is small e. So in a family, the husband is an albino with attached earlobes and the wife is pigmented with non-attached earlobes. So all their 20 children are pigmented with non-attached earlobes. So what is the genotype of this mother, of the mother? So the options are option A small a small a small e small e, option B small a capital E, option C capital A small a capital E small e, option D capital A capital S capital E. So the right answer is option D, that is capital A capital A capital capital E, that is the genotype of the mother here. Okay, so this is the question number 89 and let's move on to question number 90. It is match list 1 with list 2 and select the correct answer using the codes given below in this list. So list 1 is a character of a man and list 2 is the example. So in list 1, three statements is P, Q and S. P is X-linked, Q is sex-influenced or R is sex-limited. And the options or list 2 is the example. One is bald, baldness. Option 2 is acquired immunodeficiency syndrome. Option C, that is Klinefelter syndrome. Option 4, that is hemophilia. Option 5, that is tuft of hairs, that is hypertrichosis or PINA. Okay, so options are option A, that is P4 Q1 R5, option B, that is P5 Q3 R2, option C P5 Q1 R3, or option D P4 Q3 R2. And the right one is option A, that is P4 means sex linked is an sex linked, where the example is the hemophilia is a sex linked, and sex influenced is Q is 1, it is example for baldness, and sex limited is R, that is 5, that is tuft of hairs, that is hypertrichosis is an example of sex limited. Okay, so let's move on to question number 91. That is, in some sheep, the presence of horn is produced by an autosomal allele that is dominant in male and recessive in females. So a horned female is crossed with a hornless male. One of the female of F1 is crossed with a hornless male. So what proportion of the male progeny from this cross will have horns, and what type of inheritance is this? So options are option A, that is half male progeny will be horned and that is a maternal inheritance, or option B, half male progeny will be horned and that is maternal effect, or option C, half male will be horned, that is sex linked inheritance, or option D, half male will be horned, that is sex influenced. And the right one is option D, that is half male will be horned, and this type of inheritance is known as sex influenced. Okay, so what proportion of the male progeny from this cross will have horns? So half male will be horned, and this type of inheritance is known as sex influenced. Okay, so let's move on to question number 92. That is Duchenne muscular dystrophy is sex-linked disease. So what is the probability that a woman whose brother has Duchenne disease will have an affected child? So the options are option A, that is the total probability of the woman having an affected child is 1 by 64. Option B, the total probability of the woman having an affected child is 1 by 32. Option C, the total probability of the woman having an affected child is 1 by 16. And option D, the total probability of the woman having an affected child is 1 by 8. So the right answer is option D. That is, the total probability of the woman having an affected child is 1 by 8. Okay, so what is the probability that a woman whose brother has Duchenne disease will have an affected child is, the total probability of the woman having an affected child is 1 by 8. Okay, so let's move on to question number 93. It is the following pedigree of a particular rare trait depicts which of the following mode of inheritance of the gene. So this is, sorry, so this is the pedigree, and here by showing this pedigree you have to choose which inheritance of this, which inheritance is responsible for this. So the options are option A, X-linked recessive, option B, X-linked dominant, and option C, sex limited recessive, or option D, autosomal dominant. So the right answer is option A, that is X-linked recessive. So this pedigree is responsible for X-linked recessive. Okay. So let's move on to question number 94. Here, human genetics determined the pedigree shown in the diagram below. So circles denote females, squares denote males, and shaded figure denotes individuals expressing a specific trait. So by seeing or following this pedigree, you have to analyze which of the following is the most probable mode of inheritance of this trait. So the options are option A, simple Mendelian dominance or dominant, option B, simple Mendelian recessive, option C, X-linked dominant transmission, option D, codominant relationship of a single pair of alleles, and the right answer is option A, that is simple Mendelian dominant. So this pedigree is the example of simple Mendelian dominant. Okay, so let's move on to question number 95. That is four genes, that is J, K, L and M, reside on the same chromosome. So given that the crossover frequency between K and J is 3, between K and L is 8, between J and M is 12, and between L and M is 7. So what is the order of the gene on the chromosome? So options are JKLM, that is option A, option B, that is JKML, option C KJLM, option D KJML. Okay, so the right answer is option C, that is KJLM. This is the correct sequence of genes. So how you can determine this? So the lowest distance between them is K and J. So K and J will be at the same end, at the adjacent there. Okay, so K and J will be same. So K and J, and then by J and L. So here you can see J and L here. So there is no correlation between them, but there is a K and L. So K and L is 8, and J and M is 12. So they are slightly adjacent from each other. So in this way you can determine the distance between them. You have to correlate all this distance with each other. Okay, so by this you can determine. Okay, so let's move on to another question, that is question number 96, that is linkage map of X chromosome of fruit fly has 66 map unit with yellow body gene, that is small y, at one end and bobbed hair, that is small b, at the other. So the recombination frequency between small y and b gene would be option A 66%, option B greater than 50%, option C less than equals to 50%, or option D 100%. So the right one is option C, that is less than equals to 50%. So linkage map of X chromosome of fruit fly has 66 map unit with yellow body gene at one end and bobbed hair at the other. So the recombination frequency between Y and B gene would be less than equals to 50%. Okay, so let's move on to question number 97. It is, what is the difference between a linkage map and a physical map? So options are option A, for a linkage map markers are spaced by recombination frequency, whereas for a physical map they are spaced by numbers of base pairs. So option B, that is for a physical map the ATCG order and sequence must be achieved, but not for the linkage map. And option C, that is for a linkage map it is shown how each gene is linked to every other gene. Option D, for a physical map the distance must be calculated calculable in units such as nanometers. So the right answer is option A, that is, for a linkage map, markers are spaced by recombination frequency, whereas for a physical map, they are spaced by number of base pairs. This is the main difference between linkage map and physical maps. Okay, so let's move on to question number 98. So if a chiasma forms between the loci of gene A and B is in 20% of the tetrads of an individual of genotype capital A, capital B and capital small b, the percentage of gametes expected to be capital A and small b is 40% or 20% or 10% or 5%. So the right answer is option C, it is 10%. So if a chiasma forms between the loci of gene A and B in 20% of the tetrads of an individual of genotype capital A, capital B, small b, the percentage of gamete expected to be capital A, small b is 10%. Okay. So the next one is question number 99. So in a test cross of an individual heterozygous for each of the three linked genes, the most frequent classes of progeny were capital A, capital B, small c and a, small b, small c, and capital A, sorry, small b, capital C and small b, small c, and the least frequent classes were capital A, capital B, capital C and capital small b, small c, and small b, small b, small c, and small b, small c. So what is the order of the genes? So the options are option A is capital A, capital C, capital B, or option B, capital B, capital A, capital C, or option C, capital A, capital B, capital C, or option D, none of this. So the right answer is option A, that is capital A, capital C, capital B. Okay, so this is the right order of genes. So the last question of this video, it is, which of the following feature is not associated with maternal inheritance? And the options are option A, it is mostly uniparental, option B, that is it occurs due to nuclear genes, option C, that is organelles genome is responsible for maternal inheritance, or option D, that is variegation in 4 o'clock plants is an example of maternal inheritance. So the right answer is option B, that is it occurs due to nuclear genes. So which of the following feature is not associated with maternal inheritance? That is it occurs due to nuclear genes. This is not true because these maternal genes are responsible for mitochondrial genes. Okay, so these are all 20 questions of this part 5 video on Mendelian genetics. Okay, so thank you for watching this video.